Hello, this is the Daily Reddit going back at you again. We're hitting the subreddit r/vaxxhappened, and let's crack into it. Please comment, subscribe and like. A vaccine to prevent autism would completely confuse anti-vaxxers. Let's be honest, a piece of paper with please turn over on both sides could completely confuse anti-vaxxers. Logic confuses anti-vaxxers. Would love to know what's in them. A gamer said that his friend had a flu shot back some 15 years ago and bragged about never getting the flu after quitting the shot. He skid out on a cycle and died. The autopsy revealed the shot was still in his system all those years later. If we don't know what we are putting in us. I hope you're kidding, right? Are you trying to say some random online gamer is lying on the internet? What in the actual F are you talking about? What does this story even mean? What does it mean? I usually love sarcasm, but you lost me here. I know tons of unvaccinated kids and none of them are in the hospital or have needed to be after their birth. There are plenty of unvaccinated people in hospitals though. Heck, just got admitted and you'll probably end up vaccinated while you're there. They literally chased my mum out the door and vaccinated her as she was trying to leave. That's not true. No doctor's going to chase someone as they're leaving and vaccinate them impromptu. They're going to sit you down, tell you about it, and then do it. You know you're a 90s kid when your vaccinations were mandatory and no one in your class got measles. Love that. That's actually a funny 90s kid thing. Most 90s kid posts are just like, you know you're a 90s kid when you watch TV as a child. It's like, no, everyone did that. Do we have any proof of how many abortions it takes to make a vaccine? I think there were like 70 something. Oh my god, what are they on about? I'm going to try to be nice about this, because being the arsehole I really want to right now will not work. My 3-year-old school just called. A kid with a religious exemption from vaccines was just diagnosed with pertussis. My 3-year-old has not yet had her last DTaP shot. She is currently home with a 102-degree fever and cough with her 4-month-old baby brother. This illness could potentially be deadly if he were to catch it. Is this getting through to anyone? My 4-month-old could die if his sister has contracted pertussis from her classmate, who had no legitimate medical reason to not be vaccinated. I could have fully vaccinated for it by now, as he's already 4 and passes it on to her baby brother. I constantly hear the argument, well, it's my child, my choice. No, just no. It's everyone's child, your choice. Unless there is legitimate medical reason for you not to vaccinate your children, and not just some bullshit religious or Google biased reason, please vaccinate your children. Now, I'll suggest that if you don't, unless you've got a medical reason, if you're not vaccinated, you shouldn't be able to go to school. Simple as that. Unless you can go to private school, but no public school for you. These are the best vaccination alternatives already on the market, because we know that sometimes an essential oil is better than science. The answer? There aren't any. Vaccinate your children. A note on flu vaccines in pregnancy after a stillbirth. As well as increasing your risk of stillbirth, it puts you at risk of developing complications, particularly if you get it in the later stages of pregnancy, giving birth prematurely. So, the vaccine, so this is literally taking information from a Google, well, from a document and put it into the top result in Google, but it's kind of lost the context because it goes, the vaccine is recommended by the NHS as well as RCOG and RCM because of the benefits to your body and your baby. Getting the flu in pregnancy is a serious matter. As well as increasing the risk of child or stillbirth, it puts you at risk of developing complications, particularly if you get it at later stages of pregnancy and giving birth prematurely. Obviously here they're talking about if you get flu, not the flu vaccine. If you tell people to believe women when they're raped, but gaslight them when their children regress into autism from vaccines, you're not a feminist. Wow. How are you putting rape and trying to compare that to the same thing as in vaccines? It's like you're trying to get one controversial topic and mix with another dumb topic. There we go. So you've got measles in all these different states. As you can see, when the vaccine was introduced, the cases of measles have gone to barely anything. And now you can now see in the last 10 years, from about 2003, there has been a more consistent amount of cases of measles in all states. After thinking about it for a long time, I finally decided it was a good idea that I didn't vaccinate our daughter. I know this has been a pretty controversial topic as of late, but there was one argument I just couldn't ignore. The nurse is a professional and a much more adept with a syringe. That's a good one. That's a good twist. I was surprised by that. In my practice, you will vaccinate and you will vaccinate on time. You will not get your own spaced out schedule that increases your child's risk of illness or adverse event. I will not have measles shedding children sitting in my waiting room. I will answer all your questions about vaccine and present you with facts. But if you will not vaccinate, then leave my practice. I will file a CPS report. Not that they will do anything for medical neglect too. I have patients who are premature infants with weak lungs and hearts. I have kids with complex congenital heart disease. I have kids who are on chemotherapy for acute lymphoblastic leukemia, who cannot get all their vaccines. In short, I have patients who have true special needs and true health issues who could suffer severe injury or death because of your magical belief that your kid is somehow more special than other children, and what's good for other children is not good for yours. This paediatrician is not putting up with it. Never have, never will. This is a doctor I can respect. Well, I respect all doctors, mostly. Remember that one time you got polio? Nope. It's because 95% of the time it's asymptomatic and presents itself only as the flu. It's never been eradicated. They just keep changing its name so you think it has. How do people think making this meme helps anybody? I'm beginning to believe that doctors are trained to manipulate like this. When I asked our paediatrician if they are held responsible if there's an adverse reaction to vaccines, she answered by asking if I would be held responsible if my child gets one of those diseases. And the question is, yes, you will be responsible. You should a parent. You should let your kids have the vaccines, which are clearly proven to work. No, playing Flight Simulator does not make you a pilot. Makes sense. No, playing with Legos does not make you a civil engineer. Makes sense. No, warming up food in the microwave doesn't make you a chef. Makes sense. No, watching online clips doesn't make you a doctor. Yes, it does. The mercury is the thing that gives you gay autism cancer. Wow, how can you think so logically and then be so dumb? I was at the store and saw a kid with a band-aid from a vaccine shot and then had to yell at their parents for 10 minutes to explain the dangers of vaccines to them. When I was done, everyone clapped. So glad to have so many supporters. Obviously, this is a parody post, like a That Happened post, but good. Get ready to fight. In Italy, it's looking like adults will need to be vaccinated in order to renew their driver's license. Friends, adults are next. This is weird. I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like as an adult you should be free from having to take injections if you don't want any. It's different as a child because they can't give consent to vaccinations and can't refuse it in that sense. But yeah, as an adult you should be free from anyone putting any needle in your arm. Vax happened. Anyway, that is it for the daily Reddit on Vax Happened. Please do subscribe, comment and like for more. Hello, this is the Daily Reddit. We're going to be hitting the subreddit vaxxhappened. Let's get into it. Last flu season, my husband was at the doctor's office for a physical. After he was done, he was waiting to check out. A mum and teen daughter were behind him in line. He said the girl turned pale and fainted right at his feet. The teen's mum stood there shocked, and my hubby yelled for someone to get a doctor. Several docs came running with a wheelchair to scoop her up. They asked, did she just get her flu shot? To which the mum said yes. They flung the girl's limp body into the wheelchair and said, don't worry, this happens all the time, as they quickly wheeled her away. There's no way that this is a true story. No doctor would say this happens all the time, because it does not happen all the time. I'm 8 months pregnant and don't plan on vaccinating my baby. I tried not to say anything about it to my family members because I knew how they would react. Now that they know, they're posting insensitive vaccine memes more than ever on Facebook, and my sister is even threatening to keep her children away from my baby. That's a good move because you can spread diseases. Any advice on how to handle this? Any articles or facts I can throw at them to try sway their ideas? I really don't know what to do here and feel like I shouldn't be judged by what I decide to do with my baby. Edit. My boyfriend doesn't support my decision to not vaccinate either, and it's been causing problems in our relationship. The day after I told him how I felt, December the 16th, he thought it would be funny to send me this meme. I cried for hours. Anti-vax mums who have been vaccinated and their children are all dead. The thing is, get your children vaccinated. Everybody around you are acting responsibly. I almost choked to death while eating food. I did my own research and discovered I am not alone. Thousands of people choke every year while eating, and hundreds of those people die. That's why I don't feed my kids. It's dangerous. Now, plenty of people will point out that food supposedly prevents starvation, and this might be true. But it's not completely fair to ignore all the dangers food poses, like choking, allergies, gingivitis, and garlic breath. I'm just saying, do your own research and decide what you think is best for your kids. If you choose to give your kids potentially deadly food, that's your problem. But as a parent, I don't think the government has any right to tell me that I need to feed my kids. So literally this person is just rinsing anti-vaxxers by using an example of food, because food has its own dangers. E. coli on your lettuce equals deadly. E. coli in your meningococcal vaccine is unicorn, perfect, all good, rainbow, praise the Lord. Now here we go, someone's posted to reply all these examples of proof. We literally have E. coli in our intestines naturally. Only certain strains are harmful. Yes, we do. So then what's the issue with them being in vaccines? What's the problem with them being in salad? It's causing an E. coli outbreak. So what you're saying is that E. coli shouldn't be ingested unless your body naturally produces it. What? Not even close. I'm saying that there are harmful strains of E. coli and there are strains that are not harmful. The ones that live in our bodies are the ones used in vaccines are not harmful, while the ones found in contaminated food are. That makes sense. The healthy E. coli, the healthy chick embryo culture, the healthy formaldehyde, the healthy monkey kidney cells. So we have established the fact there is a such thing as E. coli that isn't harmful, right? The most common example is the one I highlighted above, how certain strains do live in our intestines naturally. You agreed and implied that you understood this, but now you are changing your stance on it. No, explain it to me. What am I missing here? There is a difference between when something naturally occurs in your body and when you are injecting it from a foreign source. A foreign mass-produced source with little regulation. That's a logically flawed statement. There's this thing called the naturalistic fallacy, which claims that natural equals good. If you're using this logic, then you can easily say all forms of E. coli are good, because they are all naturally occurring bacteria. But we know for a fact this isn't true. Some of them cause major illnesses. If you're using this logic in terms of medicine specifically, you should know that pretty much anything you can purchase and use for medical purposes is not considered natural. Like, do you use toothpaste? Because that's not natural, and the scary chemicals in toothpaste get absorbed into our bodies via salivary glands. In addition to that, I strongly suggest you look into research-based medicine as well. What was life like before we had the medical advances today? 2. Little regulation. Okay, do you have any evidence to back this claim up? 3. Mass production is the only reason we have cars, easy, affordable, reliable access to food, birth control. It's why you have access to the damn internet via whatever device you are using. Last post, are you really anti-vax? So this person's been absolutely destroyed with all these facts that they can't even formulate a decent response. Vaccination should be mandatory by law. I can't imagine how much pain a kid will be in just because their parents were too stupid to know that vaccines doesn't cause autism. I had the idea for this post when I overheard some couple talk about how bad vaccines are and their kids are at risk, so they will be homeschooled. Okay, then rape should be mandatory by law. What? See, anything where things are mandatory by law, they shouldn't really be mandatory by law. It's too extreme. Unfortunately, you can't force people to have needles in their arms. Medical school. 6,700 pages of everything to be a doctor. That's about 30 million words. 11 pages about vaccines. 11 pages of the CDC schedule. How and when to give vaccines, period. One paragraph out of 6,700 pages about contraindications. The average paragraph is about 100 words. 100 words out of 30 million. 30 million. You really think a doctor knows more than an educated parent? You would be a special kind of stupid then. My God, this person, I don't know whether they're mocking or trolling or genuinely believe it. I'm unsure. Vaccinated kids go trick or treating. Peanut allergy, gluten-free allergy, no shellfish, got EpiPen, no milk products. Facebook. Scientific proof that vaccines work. Anti-vaxxers. Dead fish. Sad face. Okay, people, if you hear helicopters flying over your house, you might want to check your yard because they are dropping these rabies vaccines everywhere, supposedly for raccoons. Well, a helicopter flew over my house a few minutes later and I noticed something in my dog's mouth. Sure enough, one of these, and just that quickly she found it. Called the vet and that's what they told me. Supposedly it won't make your dog sick unless they eat quite a few of them, or eating the plastic may cause a little bit of vomiting. I myself have never heard about these, but I guess that's a thing. I'm unsure if it's legit. Maybe it looks legit, so I guess it is. But alas, that is it for the Daily Reddit. Please do come back for more. Subscribe, comment and like.